Right here we have a bar of chocolate. When given this, we say we have 3 bars of chocolate. When given this, we say we have 2 bars of chocolate. When given this, we say we have 1 bar of chocolate. However, when given this, we say we have, let's find out. 3, 2, and 1, like many other numbers, are whole numbers, and we use whole numbers to represent quantities like we did with the chocolates. But not all quantities can be represented with whole numbers like this one here. That's why the concept of fraction was introduced. Fractions arise as a result of the division of whole numbers to form parts, and these fractions always follow a certain format where a line is drawn and 2 whole numbers are placed one above and below the line. The number above the line is called the numerator, while the number below the line is called the denominator. The numerator represents the number of parts in a fraction, while the denominator represents the number of equal parts the whole has been divided into. So let's take a quick illustration. We'll take this circle here and divide into 2. Now we have 2 equal parts in which our whole has been divided into. Now to describe this quantity, we use a fraction, so we draw out our line. Remember that the denominator shows how many parts in which the whole has been divided into, and our circle was divided into 2 parts. Therefore, our denominator is 2, which we place below the line. And the numerator represents the number of parts which is in a fraction. And since we are only considering 1 part, which is this one, our numerator is 1. And we call this 1/2, or we simply say 1/2. And the same thing applies for the other parts here. For a final illustration, let's take our circle again and divide it this way so that we have this. We can take 1 part and represent it with a fraction. So once again, we draw our line and place the denominator to be the number of equal parts that our circle has been divided into. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts in which our circle has been divided into. Therefore, our denominator is 4. And since this fraction only represents one of these 4 parts, the numerator is 1. And we call this 1/4, or simply 1/4. However, if we are to represent 2 of these parts, our denominator remains 4, but our numerator changes to 2 since we are representing 2 parts. And we call this 2/4. Moving on, we have different types of fractions: the improper fractions and the proper fractions. The numerator is always greater than the denominator, as we can see in 7/4 that 7 the numerator is greater than 4 the denominator, and the pattern repeats itself for all these examples and other improper fractions. However, proper fractions have their numerators to be less than their denominators, as we can see here with 1/3, where 1 the numerator is less than 3 the denominator, and the pattern repeats itself for all these examples and all other proper fractions. That brings us to the end of this video. So what's the quantity for this piece of chocolate? Let me know in the comment section below. Goodbye.